Hello and welcome to Heroes of Handheld, episode 165. This is the podcast dedicated to handheld gaming. We talk about everything relating to the world of gaming on a handheld device, so mobile, Vita, 3DS, but we don't care about those ones this week because we're focusing...
Fuck them all, I say.
Maybe exactly. That's what we always say. We say, fuck them all. Maybe. No, I liked it. I appreciate your enthusiasm. But this week we're focusing on one device in particular. We're inviting and bringing in a new device to the Heroes of Handheld flock. And that device, as you probably all already know, is the Nintendo... Hold on.
Here we go.
Oh, he didn't even fucking say it. Podcast is ruined. Anyway, Nintendo Switch. We're so excited. We're even doing the podcast a few days earlier than usual. Definitely not because of other personal reasons, but definitely because we have so much to talk about. We just could not wait till Wednesday. It's so exciting. Before we get into all the details of what's happened this week with Nintendo Switch and Chris going to events and speaking to people and doing videos not uploaded to the right YouTube channel, we're going to talk about things we've been playing first before we get into the meat and veg.
Okay. I'm Chris, by the way, and that's Colin. In case you never listened before, new audience, new console. That's Colin. I'm Chris.
He's the one whose internet he's the one whose internet keeps dropping out. So you'll hear him like, and then that usual business is resumed. Right, so let's talk about what we've been playing this week. I'm going to quickly say what I've been playing because I'm more important than Chris. So I've been playing my PlayStation Vita. Shock horror, I've been playing my Vita.
What?
And I've been playing a game called... Yeah. Do you remember the Vita? Do you remember that was a thing?
Vaguely, yeah. I do. I think I used to have one, but it's just a bit of a blur.
Something about finding flans and cross-playing... battling games, something like that. Anyway, so I've been playing a game called Xenoraid this week, which is a space exploration shoot 'em up game, which is sort of like a mix between, if you remember or are familiar with older games, Chris, sort of like a mix between Asteroids and Centipede. Or was it Millipede? I think it was Centipede. You're in space. You have 4 spaceships that you can rotate through. There's loads of enemy spaceships flying towards you. You're constantly moving, and you've got to direct your ship around the screen, shoot them all before they destroy all your ships. You can alter between ships at any time. Sometimes it's worth changing to another ship to get out of a sticky situation. So if you're surrounded by asteroids or enemies, you can bring in another ship. So your one will fly away, your new one will come in, and you can move to a different part of the screen. But it's a really interesting idea. It's actually a lot of fun. It's from the company 10 Tons Ltd, who we know and love very well. But it's very different to their usual games. So they're known for their puzzler games, their match-free puzzle games like Sparkle and King Oddball, and there's loads of others out there. But this is very different. I don't know whether I'm wrong, but I can't really remember another game similar to this from them. And they've done it very well. It's a very addictive game. I found myself playing it for a very long time last night. I played about 10, 11 levels, one after the other. And I only plan to play it for a little bit, but it's really addictive. You can upgrade your ships. You have to... if your ships get destroyed, you can replace them, but you have to, really think about what you want to do. Do you want to spend all your cash? You get credits for completing levels. Do you want to spend your credits on boosting your ship's shields or repairing them, or do you want to buy new ships? It's more expensive to buy new ships if ones get destroyed, so it is actually worth repairing and making the ones you've got stronger. But it's very fun. It's easy to pick up and play, shoot them. It's high octane, very fun, and they've done it very well. So it's called Xenoraid, and it's available on PlayStation Vita now. You should go and play it because it's a lot of fun. Perfect for handheld gaming, in my opinion. Perfect for PlayStation Vita. Chris, what? Oh, another thing. Still playing Arkham Knight. Bloody hell, I'm bloody addicted to that game, and I bloody love those Batman games, and I want them to keep making them every fucking year because I love them so much. I can't stop. I'm even enjoying the tank battle mode, which Chris hates. I'm actually going around Gotham trying to find those mines that they planted in the road so I can battle other tanks.
Oh no, that's the most annoying part of the whole game.
I know. I thought that, but I'm actually starting to enjoy it. I don't know what it is.
Actually, the the battling isn't so bad. It's when you're in the tank and they try and get you to climb stuff. That's when it's really annoying.
Oh yes, that's when you have to do like an obstacle course, and then your car will fall down. And you have to start all over again. That is bloody annoying. No, the worst missions in the Batman game are I can't remember what it's called. It's like King of the Road or something, where like they've got all these ramps up, and there's like loads of enemies inside these ramps, and you have to, beat them up. It's so boring and tedious. But
because you can't use the car because there's like walls up to stop you shooting in.
Exactly, it's very, very annoying that. Though I did complete the Man Bat mission.
Ooh, spicy! I like that one.
Bit disappointed by the ending. Seriously, like I was searching around for. The thing is, like, don't search. People who haven't got the game won't understand this. Don't go searching for the Man Bat. When you least suspect it, he will appear. That you'll be standing on top of a building, suddenly you'll hear. Like, oh shit! Where's that coming from?
Is that the Man Bat or the Man Injured Duck?
I can't really do a better man. You do a better Man Bat impression than it's something like that. It's quite a hideous noise. It's like,
wasn't it more like kind of? No,
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's better. It's all right. It's good.
Thanks, mate.
But that's what I love about this game. Like, it's sort of different to the other games in the series, where you can stand on top of a building, like highest point in one area. There's 3 islands in the Batman game. Stand on top of a tall building, just look around, and you can find things. Like you're listening out for what enemies are saying. You're listening out for certain sounds to go to new missions. You're looking for smoke. That's what I love. Like you just stand there and you can look out. And like and you actually feel like a proper detective, because you're sussing out where to go by looking at where enemies are placed in the world and hearing what conversations are happening, where they might be relevant. I just love it. It's absolutely fantastic. And I've just got to a bit in the story, which I'm not going to ruin, but a bit of a twist in a way. It's not the big reveal, as me and Chris have discussed on the show, but another point where it was very sort of supposedly a twist, which was quite good. And I'm sort of growing.
Batman is Bruce Wayne.
What? Piss off. That is just. Batman is Dick Grayson. Right. Anyway, so that's what I've been playing. What have you been playing this week, Chris?
I have been playing. Today, I finished and platinumed Far Cry 4 for the PlayStation 4, which I really enjoyed.
Hold on. Before you say any more, did you just play the game, and when you were at the dinner table, did you just wait there for 15 minutes and then the game ended?
I didn't. No, I didn't do that ending. Yeah, I know. I might just watch that on YouTube, to be honest.
I definitely did watch all the endings on YouTube. Anyway, go on.
I really liked it. I liked it, I think, more than I liked Far Cry 3. I think the environment was a lot less generic, and I thought the missions were kind of a lot more varied. And I just think Ubisoft, the Far Cry games are the best Ubisoft ones because they just know like the magic formula. Do you know what I mean? They are so good at kind of thinking of these environments and giving you ways to play, and it's just so super fun. The story probably isn't. The story kind of doesn't massively accelerate, but you do have to make some quite difficult decisions. And I really liked that. I enjoy the sort of the small amounts of choice, because normally in first-person shooters you don't really get much choice, or the whole point of the game is you get binary choices. Whereas in this, they were kind of like there were a few choices every now and then, but it wasn't the whole structure of the game. Obviously, the gun mechanic's really good, and it's really fun platinum to get as well. So yeah, I was happy. And I've also just started playing Ratchet and Clank, which was the one that came out for PS4 last year. It's sort of based on the film and the first game as well, which I really like. I never played Ratchet and Clank before, so apart from All for One on my friend's PS3, so I'm really enjoying that. It looks really pretty, very good gunplay again. Slightly frustrating, I would say, but I think it just comes with time and comes with practice. So yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
Nice, that's a good variety of games there. Well done, Christopher.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you. But Colin, there is another thing. Colin, there's another thing. Because I was playing a thing on Saturday. Actually, I played a thing.
Right, so we're going to get into this, and hopefully, whilst I'm talking, Chris will get the hint that he needs to sort out his internet. Anyway, hi. So,
such a dickhead.
I'm sorry. I just want this podcast to be the best it can be. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Oh, grow up. Grow up.
Go on.
Shut up. Grow up.
So
Grow up. Right. So right. Anyway. So last Friday there was a big old event done by Nintendo. They dropped loads of information. All the questions that we had were answered pretty much regarding the Nintendo Switch. Woo! I would play Will Smith, but I forgot to queue it up, so I'm not going to. But our man on the scene, Mr. Chris Pearson, actually got invited, or he entered the competition, to go to a super secret, it wasn't actually that secret, event where he could play the Nintendo Switch. One of the first people on this island in the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, whatever we are in. One of the first people in this country to play the Nintendo Switch. He got it in his hands. He played some games. He did some weird dance moves, and then people had to imitate him. Chris, how did you find? Well, actually, start from the top. How was Saturday?
Right.
What happened? How did it go down?
So, Colin, we were told that the event would start at 2:00 and check-in starts from 1:30. We got there about 20 to 2, I would say.
Good amount of time. Well done. Yeah. Good.
We were in a really big queue. Lots of kind of like-minded people. I was with my friend Rob, who I live with, who's been on this podcast ages ago for a Pokemon Go episode, who also filmed the whole thing, and will embed a link if you want to watch it on our social medias and on the article as well. So me and Rob in this queue, lots of kind of like-minded people, mostly chaps, but a few ladies as well. Lots of kind of people wearing, Mario shirts and that kind of thing. Then we get ushered into the event in Apollo, which is in Hammersmith, which I think is more traditionally a venue for performance than it is for kind of conferences. Like I've got tickets to see like some magicians there in June. It's more set up for that than it is for, conferences, queues on the floor, but whatever. So we'll get ushered in. There's a kind of elevated bit when you come in, and we're locked in this bit, and you get this kind of music playing. They play Justin Timberlake's "Can't Stop the Feeling" 3 times in a row, and then someone comes over the tannoy and says, "Welcome to the Nintendo Switch UK premiere. Thank you very much for coming out. Are you all excited to play some games? You can play this game, blah, 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 blah." And then the floodgates opened and everyone rushed in. And it was, a little bit like, I can't quite think of what I'd compare it to. Maybe a
Slipknot gig.
Maybe a gig, but the thing is, there wasn't a queuing system once we were in. We were just a crowd moving forward. Yeah. Maybe more like a roller. I don't know. Anyway, so we're all in this zone, and then we get through, and on the floor are a bunch of different booths with different games you can play. The most booths were probably either in the middle, which were kind of on back to back. They formed like a circle, and they were playing different games from the 1-2 Switch puzzle. Then there was also quite a lot for Mario Kart 8, quite a lot for Splatoon, and lots for Zelda. Obviously, Zelda was the most popular title. We rushed over and played Splatoon. That was the first one to play. The nice chap from Nintendo did like kind of introduction with us. Rob was playing on the Switch gamepad, and I was playing on a Pro controller and a TV. And we played that, and that was very good. I really like Splatoon anyway, but this felt like a step up from the first one. It felt less kind of basic and simplistic. The graphics were really nice, and it controlled really well as well. Rob seemed to like the screen quite a lot. The screen is actually smaller than you might expect. Like, it's smaller than the gamepad screen, which does give it a kind of quite a clear definition, but is surprising because on the marketing, I think they make it look more sort of tablet size, and it is tablets. It's kind of small tablet, huge phone, that sort of size.
Yeah.
You remember? I can't remember. It might be a Sony phone that came out a couple of years ago. My brother had it. It was huge. It was like the size of a book. Do you remember that?
Right. Yeah, I think I remember. It was like very square. Very
that kind of size. You can see pictures online, obviously, on the dimensions and stuff. So we played Splatoon. And then whilst we were queuing, because we were in the first batch of people to get in for Splatoon in the afternoon, obviously, because I bloody love Splatoon, I overheard someone from Nintendo say the queue for Zelda is closed. The queue time is now over an hour. So obviously Zelda's the most popular title they had.
That's not a surprise. Yeah, not a
No.
surprise, really.
Anytime we walked past, it was full. And also, it's probably partly because the Zelda demo seems to be a bit more open, whereas like a Splatoon demo is the length of a game. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Zelda, I don't think they have that kind of time jurisdiction on you. So after that, we played 3 mini games from 1-2 touch. So we played a cow milking one, which was kind
Yeah,
of
but
you sit opposite each other and hold.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
so I
on,
want
go on.
to this 1-2 touch. I mean, I've got so many questions to ask you about the
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch event, but yeah, this one, I'm looking at videos of it. I've seen screenshots and I've watched people playing it. Is it any fun? Does it work
So
well? Do the Joy-Con and
the
sticks work well?
we played 3 of the mini games. The whole shtick with 1-2 touch, if you've not seen it, is it's a launch title, and the idea is to encourage you to play these 2-player games sat opposite the other player. So you kind of have the screen adjacent to you, so you're looking in the player's eyes, and then the screen is either to your left or to your right, depending on what side you're on. That's the kind of shtick of it. And actually, you don't need to be looking at the screen because it's kind of repetitive or reaction based. I liked 1-2 touch, but it felt very much like a Wii Play or a Nintendo Land kind of launch title with sort of mini games that are fun and show you kind of how the consoles and the Joy-Cons work. But I don't think anyone is going to be calling it a classic in 5 years' time. I mean, I guess it depends on how many mini games there are. But the other thing is, all the mini games we played were only 30 seconds long. So maybe that's just a demo thing for the setup, but it's slightly hard to get an idea of how the games play.
Yeah, how many mini games are included in
I really don't know. I mean, I saw 4 different ones on the show floor. I saw the milking, the samurai, I saw the fast draw one, I saw the copying dance one, but I think I'm pretty sure there are others as well. And I mean, it's it will get people playing, but I don't think it's going to get people playing in the same way that we play or Wii Sports did way back when. Yeah, but good fun. And those were the only ones we did, because the thing with the event, Colin, is I wanted to play Zelda, I wanted to play Mario Kart, I wanted to touch ARMS, but that space is really not very well suited for large queues. And basically any of the games with sort of once it got to, say we got in at, say, I don't know, 20 past 2, once it got to 3, every queue was just about 10-15 people long, and they were purposefully telling people not to queue because the show floor was too rammed. And I know I feel like I should have stayed longer, but also it was quite an unpleasant atmosphere, not because the games, not because the staff, not because the consoles, but just because there was too many people in there. Like it felt a bit like a fire hazard, to be honest. And it was just kind of, we're constantly having to shuffle around, shuffle past people, knock into people. And like, I saw a guy on crutches and I was just like, he's going to really struggle getting past. But what I would say is I think if you were at the event with less people, it would be really good, because Nintendo had pulled out all the stops, had put a lot of kind of press stuff up. There was a lot you could read, a lot of kind of history things. They had every kind of iteration of a Nintendo, sort of all the main Nintendo systems in a glass box as you came in, which was nice. It reminded you of the sort of the legacy that the console's representing. And the staff were really friendly. I mean, some more helpful than others, but I think the thing is, I think I've heard that at those events, they're not necessarily people who work for Nintendo. They're kind of events people who are hired on like a freelance basis. So I guess some would know more than, I mean, I think I've heard that. I kind of feel like it might not be true. I'm happy to be proved otherwise, but yeah, still good. We watched a lot of people play stuff, which was kind of a more fun way to experience it, actually, because you could do that without queuing up for half an hour and getting banged into all the time.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. You can watch the video. We will embed it. Yeah, I mean, I guess what we should really talk about, the controllers are quite small. I didn't expect them to be as small as they were, but my hands were slightly too big for them.
That was you're talking about the Joy-Con controllers now.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Joy-Con controllers, which come. You can either clip them onto the side of the screen, you can clip them onto a Pro Grip, you can clip them onto a charging clip, or you can have them loose for kind of different styles of gameplay depending on what you fancy. The Joy-Cons do feel nice, and the Pro Controller I played Splatoon on did feel nice, but I think people might lose them. I don't know.
From what I've
Because
seen,
they're quite small.
They look quite
They kind of
fragile
look.
to me. Did they feel quite sturdy in your hand, or did they feel quite flimsy?
Yeah, they felt good actually. They felt. I would say they felt kind of. They had a bit of heft to them actually. I'd say they felt sort of like a Wii remote, maybe, but not. They're not as heavy or as big as a Wii remote. But they felt. They didn't feel like a nunchuck. They felt like a remote, I would say. But I do think people will lose them because they're the perfect size to slip down the cushions on sofas.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, and one of my major takes from the event was, I like this console and I want it to succeed, but I'm not willing to invest straight away because I like the Joy-Cons, but so many of the games they were plugging were multiplayer ones. And let's talk money, because the Joy-Con controllers are very, very, very expensive and it doesn't really seem fair. There's an article on Reddit on the games subreddit, we'll copy it. Someone called I Love SNES has done a write-up about the pricing of controllers in games in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's mad. In States, a Pro Controller will cost you $70, whereas over here, a Pro Controller will cost you £65.
That is a lot.
Which is a lot. And I mean, obviously Nintendo are making a decision based on, certain financial security worries, Brexit, things like that. But that's so much money. £65 is insane.
I think this is a good point, really, to go through what actually is included in the box when you buy a Nintendo Switch, and also to actually say the release date and the pricing, which was also was announced back on Friday. Seems ages ago now. So, I mean, in terms of when you can actually play a Nintendo Switch, it'll be the 3rd of March in the UK. Which is that worldwide? Is it the same day worldwide, or is that just the UK 3rd of March, Chris?
I don't know. I think it might be that day everywhere. I think I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I think they said it was the same US, UK, major European territories is what they said, and Japan. I was surprised at how early it was in March. I thought it was going to be much later towards the end, so it's coming much sooner than I thought. And I was actually pleasantly surprised by the price of it. Initially, when I saw it's under the £300 mark. I mean, me and you, Chris, had discussed last week about our fears for the price, but it seems quite a good price. So $279.99 in the UK, $300 in the US, and 29,000 yen in Japan. But the interesting part of all this, now I've seen a few articles about this, and you've alluded to this, Chris, with you saying how expensive the controllers are.
Yeah.
So I've seen an interview with Nintendo where the only way, and this actually links back to that game. Was it called 1-2 Swish? I keep getting the name of it. 1-2.
Is it? You made me forget. Is it 1-2 puzzle? 1-2 switch? Puzzle 1-2?
1-2 milk a cow.
1-2
milk and a cow. So that you said that seems like Mario Party and Wii Sports. No, the Wii Sports, which was bundled in with the Wii. So interestingly enough, if you buy a Nintendo Switch, you don't actually get any games when you buy it. Now, this is unusual because in previous consoles, Nintendo have always included a game to get you started. So, as I said, the Wii had Wii Sports, and you got a Wii U. Did Wii U come with a game? I think it did.
No, my one did because it bundled, but I think the traditional one didn't.
Oh, okay, but you had the option to get it with a game, didn't you? There was a bundle you could buy, which is what you got.
I bought the Wind Waker one, which is a bit different because that was kind of like a special one. I think. There must have been a bundle. There must have been a bundle. But like you say, the actual console is exactly the price we kind of hoped it would be. Like when we sat around last week, we were saying somewhere between $250 and $300. But it's just the fact that all the add-ons are so expensive. I mean, if you want two Joy-Cons, £65. That's mad. That's so pricey. And if you want a pad, a grip thing that you can charge them on, that's another 25 quid. It's
There is a very
huge.
interesting article actually, which was by Forbes, and it's the hidden costs of the Nintendo Switch keep adding up. So, as you said, like I'm looking at this long list of things that you can buy as extras. So this is American pricing, but you get the idea. So, I mean, as you said, $70 for a Pro controller, which doesn't come included.
Well, and
For,
actually, hang on, Colin. It's worth saying as well. You can't get much of an idea from the American pricing because it's not done in ratio. Like UK is being charged more than the US is in terms of pounds and dollars because the ratios don't add up.
right.
Like we're not being charged the equivalent of dollars turned into pounds. We're being charged even more. It's horrendous. It's really, really horrendous. Sorry,
So
it's just
you
annoyed
think
me quite
this?
a
I mean,
bit.
American journalists are annoyed about this. Think how British journalists are
Yeah,
thinking with all these
exactly.
extra add-ons. So for a Joy-Con grip, that actually charges. Now, this is something that came out very recently today. Actually, it was announced that the grip that you get in the box, which puts the two Joy-Cons in, so it makes it look like a bit like a Pro controller in a way. It doesn't actually charge the Joy-Cons. So you need to buy something separately if you want to get a grip that actually charges them, which will in America sets you back about $30. That's gonna be about 30 quid over here.
Yeah, so you
As
can,
you
it's
said,
worth saying, you can charge them if you plug them into the side of the main console, but you can't
yes, but that's only
if
when
you
it's
play it
docked, isn't it?
separately.
Yeah,
It's only when
that's
it's
only when
docked
it's
or
docked.
when you've got it plugged into the mains via the converter. But yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. If you want to use the kind of the more traditional sturdy controller setup, yeah, it's a bit oh, it really annoys me, Colin. It looks so good. It's so fucking
Could
expensive.
could this be the same as what Sony did with the PlayStation Vita in terms of cards, that sort of thing?
Maybe.
Like that was their way of making those really expensive. So the initial kit potentially wasn't that much, was a good price, but then they put all these extras on. And it's not just that. Looking at the list of stuff with the Nintendo Switch, like we haven't even mentioned the fact that Nintendo are going to be charging for people to use the online service from autumn. So initially
Yeah.
it'll be free, but you'll have to
Well,
pay potentially a yearly fee to play online on Nintendo Switch after about September time.
another interesting thing about the online as well is if you load up nintendo.com/switch/online-service and you scroll all the way to the bottom, it says online service requires a Nintendo account. Starting in fall 2017, some online services will also require a paid subscription. Paid online service availability may be limited based on location. So actually, you might not.
Oh
And
dear.
a little while ago as well, when I first logged onto that site, if you went on and you were from the UK, it said it's only going to be available in America, Canada, and somewhere else at launch. So they must have changed it to be slightly broader. But it's like,
No way.
why
That'd be
is it not
bullshit.
here? It's just I
That is
don't get
crazy.
it.
That can't be right. And another thing that was going to cost money is the SD. I mean, the Switch comes with 32 gigabytes of hard drive, storage, which is pretty good out of the box, 32 gigabytes. But then you hear that if you want to play the Zelda game, Wind Waker, if you download that game,
Sorry,
that's
not
going to
Wind
take up
Waker,
over
Breath of the
half of
Wild.
that straight away. That's going to take it up. Like if you download Zelda, it's going to take over half of that 32 gigabyte memory straight away just on one game. So people are going to have to buy more SD cards, if they want to put loads of games on their consoles. That's another thing people have to think about as well. This article also says about there being 0 games. I never actually said. So when you buy a Nintendo Switch, this is what you get in the box. You get the Switch console, obviously. You get the left and right Joy-Con controllers, obviously. You get 2 very handy wrist straps. Very nice. You get the Joy-Con grip. You get the Nintendo Switch dock, a HDMI cable, and probably the bit I'm looking forward to the most is an AC adapter. So all very exciting. So that's all you get in the box. No extras, nothing else. You don't get any games at all, which a lot of people are disappointed about. Nice to have that. As you've been saying about that, it's called 2-1 Switch. That seems like the perfect game that you would just bundle in with it because it doesn't seem like a game that you would buy on its own. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the game you go out and buy. And I think Nintendo aren't being generous with the pricing as well. It's quite a lot of money, I think, to buy two. I think they're saying it's going to be around the £20 mark if you want to buy 2-1 Switch, which seems a lot of money for what is potentially just a demo game to give you an idea of how the Joy-Con controllers work. It seems a bit odd to me. And it doesn't really seem. I mean, I've not played it. I can't really judge. But looking at the videos, it doesn't actually look that good, to be honest with you. I know you played it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like after the event on this weekend, I would have. I wanted to play it and love it so much that I could kind of come out and be like, I'm ordering one right now, but it didn't quite wow me enough. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
good. Like it's a really good
yeah.
piece of tech, but it's expensive and it didn't do enough to sell me on it.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't go out and pre-order it straight away because it's already sold out everywhere anyway. It's already hit 2 million pre-orders. Nintendo Switch. GameStop in America have sold out. Amazon in the UK and Amazon in America have all sold out now of preset of orders for the Nintendo Switch. So you can see a lot of people are excited about this. And to be honest with you, I know that I've said a load of negative things about it, but I'm still excited for it. I really love the idea of it still, like being able to take it on the go, like being able to play proper big titles. Or I know you could do this on PlayStation Vita, but with a bigger size screen potentially. And I don't know. It just it still does interest me quite a lot here, and I think it is something I will probably be investing in. But I don't think, and this leads on to another point. I don't think I would be, and I don't think many people will be buying it. Well, ordered it, but I don't think many other people will be buying it from launch because the horrendous launch lineup. There is only 5 games you can play on launch day on March the 3rd, and that is really bad in my opinion. That doesn't seem very. Chris, I don't get it.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
it's
Five
kind of
games.
it's kind of lacking, and I think, I mean, people will play Zelda, and there is a large amount of people who have pre-ordered this because they want to play Zelda on the day it comes out, which is totally fine. I get it, but it's very frustrating because as someone who likes Zelda an awful lot, but also with the Wii U, right? It's been such a weird kind of connection I've had with it because I got it. I really loved Wind Waker, and then I've kind of had an exclusive on it every 6 months that I've really liked. But between then, it's just gathered dust. There's been no kind of third party. There's been the occasional bit of virtual console, but really, it's just kind of sat there and gathered dust. And the Wii U, sorry, the Nintendo Switch already looks to be doing the same because you get Zelda. I mean, obviously, a lot of the games will be exclusive, but they're not these kind of big hitter titles. And it's like Zelda is great, but if I get it in March, it's probably not going to keep me occupied until autumn when everything else comes out.
Yeah, there's big gaps between releases for big titles,
especially when on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which admittedly like they're very kind of different ecosystems, but there is a big game every month. You can really kind of pick and choose, and actually on those systems there is too much stuff to play. Like you just can't keep up with everything, and Nintendo want to be careful and polish their games, but why are you launching this when all you've really got is Zelda?
Yeah, I'm surprised. The one thing I'm really surprised about is how we don't have any Mario games included. Like, you would have thought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe would have been a launch title. To me, that seems like the most obvious.
Because also that's an old game with more stuff in. Like that shouldn't be. Surely it shouldn't be that hard. Like surely they must have known. And it's just like, why are you charging people? And when that comes out over here, I mean, you can see it on this Reddit article. It's going to be £50 for a game which has been out on Wii U for at least a year, if not two. I think 2 years. Like that's not on. Just really, so disappointing.
But Mario games are always quite expensive, in my opinion.
I mean, they are, but this has been out for it's okay. May 2014 that came out, so it's coming up to 3. In fact, it'll be out for 3 years by the time Deluxe comes out.
Yeah, it's very odd. I mean, it looks lovely, and I'm sure it'll play really well. They always do play well, those games, but it's just the wait between that time. I'm looking at these other titles, and there's a few games that I'm interested in. I'm really into my Super Mario Odyssey. That seems quite interesting to me. The sandbox open world Mario game. That looks quite cool. It's like I saw a video demo, and he was like running around on a skyscraper, which looked quite. So yeah, they're quite cool.
Yeah, it was a shame actually that there wasn't a playable version of that at the session we were at. There was a kind of booth where you could sit and watch the trail, but there wasn't like a a version of it that you could go on, which is a shame because I really wanted to try that game, and it makes me worried about when it's coming out. If there's not a playable kind of cut of it, is it going to be autumn? Is it going to be later?
Yeah, it just says holiday 2017, so it's going to be the end of the year. We've got a long time. I mean, we haven't actually gone through the full list. So as Chris said, Zelda is the big launch title for Wii, Nintendo Switch. That's the big one. The other games, 1-2 Switch, as we've said, that's going to be released day one. Super Bomberman, that's another game that's coming out. I don't know much about that one. I'm assuming it's similar. It's from the Mario world, looking at the font and the Super part of it.
What's it called? Sorry?
Go on, sorry.
What was that game? Super Bomberman.
Super Bomberman.
And have you not heard of Bomberman?
Is that the big? Maybe I have. Let me get. Well, actually, yeah. What you keep? No, don't talk. I don't want you to talk. I'm going to Google it, and I'm going to keep talking whilst I search Bomberman. Oh yes, I don't really recognize that at all. Anyway, am I supposed to know him? Got long eyes and balls for feet.
It's iconic.
Huh?
Iconic. Is this iconic SNES game? NES game. You run around, you trip your mates up with bombs. It's legit.
Maybe. Oh yes, I do. I think I do. Oh, so I'm just seeing really old versions. So I'm assuming the updated one's going to look a lot prettier on the Nintendo Switch. Anyway, that's another launch title, and there are a few others. So probably the most exciting one for me, anyway, has to be Just Dance 2017. Come on, awaited sequel to Just Dance 2016. Jesus Christ. So that's going to be a launch title. And also, finally, Skylanders Imaginators. And actually, I don't really know much about... Obviously, I know the Skylanders name, but I don't really know much about that one. Actually, the thing about this... A few things I forgot to mention. I saw an interview with someone from Nintendo saying that the reason why they didn't include a game in the Nintendo Switch package in the box is because they wanted it to be under the £300 price range, the $300 price, which is why.
But no one's gonna buy it and then not buy a game.
Exactly. So it's weird. Like they do admire their honesty in saying that, but. It's broken logic when people will have to buy it anyway. So it is going to be over the $300 mark. I don't know. And also another point is this is actually really cool for the game and the joy for the Skyland. I think it was Skyland. There's one of those games with the Joy-Con where there's one of the, I don't know if it's both of them, but if you put an amiibo over the joystick on one of the Joy-Con controllers, that will put that amiibo into the game. So that's like the little sensor, you need for the amiibos. It's built into the Joy-Con. So it was it's on the little joystick and a nice little Easter eggy thing, in my opinion. It was very, very nice. Right, so last few more things I want to say about this, the lineup of games that are coming to Nintendo. So looking along the list here, we've got Mario Kart 8 on the 28th of April. So almost 2 months after launch, that'll be coming out. We've got a few more games in spring. The next, looking down here, we've got Splatoon 2 coming out in the summer of 2017, which I know you'll be excited about. But I've heard a lot of people say it's not really a sequel. It's just like an enhanced version of the first one.
I mean, we didn't really get to play enough. I think it felt like a sequel. From what I played, it felt certainly more developed than the first one. It was jokes though, because there was 4 of us on the team and 3 of us picked the same fucking weapon. Which is, we were never going to win when it, because the thing with Splatoon is, just as a side note, you kind of play in your own ecosystem a bit. One of the big criticisms of the first one was the lack of communication, so you couldn't tell people what weapons you were going to pick. So when the 4 of us were on a team and 3 of us all picked the splat roller, which is the paint roller, we knew it was never going to go well. Although I was top of the team.
Nice. Well,
we lost.
Was there much new stuff? Was it? Did you difference in the way it plays and the way from the original?
Yeah, it felt different. You because obviously the thing you're missing is the map screen, so that was different in itself. It felt less. It actually felt kind of hard in a way because you couldn't track as easily how well your team was doing and where to go. But I quite liked that. It meant you had to think a bit more tactically rather than just staring down all the time. The new tech felt very good. Yeah, it felt smooth. I love Splatoon. I think they've really stumbled on something great, and I But I'm not going to buy a Switch just for Splatoon.
Say that again. As you said, a big statement there.
I'm not going to buy a Switch just for Splatoon 2.
I'm surprised because if you're a big fan of Splatoon and it's the only place you can play it, then surely that's the sort of game that would push you to buy a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, but I don't mind waiting because, like I say, I'm a big fan of Zelda, but I'm not going to get the Switch just for 5 games.
Yeah, I mean,
I need to know there's more out there. I need to know there's more on it.
Looking at the other games that are coming out later this year, in autumn 2017, we've got the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim coming out. So that's a hot new game coming to Nintendo Switch there. At this point, is there anyone who hasn't played Skyrim? I don't know. It just seems a bit... I'm very surprised that they haven't made Skyrim a launch title just to have that third-party sort of, that big third-party game in there as well, because it's been out for so long, Skyrim. Surely, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of bringing the game to a different console, but surely it can't be that difficult to bring in Skyrim, which has been put on every platform under the sun, basically. I'm interested to see how that plays on the Switch, to be honest with you. I think it'll be very interesting to see how it looks, how it plays. And to be honest, that is pretty cool. The ability to play Skyrim and then take it with you on that the little tablet. The Nintendo Switch tablets, that's going to be pretty cool. You could play Skyrim whilst you're on the shitter. Come on. That is a dream, surely.
You could do that anyway, thanks to the PS4 streaming play. What's it called?
Remote
the Vita
play,
thing.
It was called.
Yeah, but that's a bit tenuous, I guess. Okay, I feel like maybe we should start to kind of to wrap a little.
Oh, I just want to say the two games.
Okay.
I want to say two final games I'm actually looking forward to. So these there's no firm release date. We've just got 2017 for these ones. So the FIFA games are coming to Nintendo Switch, which will be very interesting to see how they play, especially if you're using the Joy-Cons. That would be very interesting. And also Sonic Mania is coming out as well, which I'm very excited for. I do love Sonic games, and I think that would be very fun. And also some basketball games as well, which we knew about anyway. And of course, Minecraft. Of course, Minecraft is coming out. It's on everything, Minecraft, so we're not surprised. So yeah, that's the games that are coming out to Nintendo Switch over the first year. Very disappointing in terms of how many games there are, how varied they are, but hopefully everyone will forget that when they play Zelda, and I'm sure Zelda's going to get amazing reviews, and I'm sure that'll make everyone forget that the launch lineup is terrible. So there we go. Right, so let's see what else we've got to say about this game. I think we've pretty much covered everything. We've said about the online services, having to pay for that. Oh, just a few more things, actually. So the battery life for the Nintendo Switch. What are your thoughts on the battery life of the tablet?
So Nintendo have said that the controllers will be 20 hours and the tablet's going to be between 2.5 and 6, I think, depending on what games you play.
Yes. Depends what you play, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so if you're playing a big game,
it's kind of hard, isn't it? Because that's sort of that's developer talk, and we don't know like how close to either way it'll be. I mean, to be honest, that sounds kind of like the 3DS battery life, and I think the 3DS battery life is really good. But the big problem with the Wii U for me is the gamepad being charged all the time. And if the Switch is like that, I'm going to be really disappointed. It's like, I guess it makes sense that it would be hard for them to not be able to give a concrete answer, because it obviously will vary if you've got Wi-Fi and how bright your thing is, like how kind of intense the game you're playing is, I assume. But this is another, like, for me, this is another reason why I wouldn't pre-order it, actually, because I want people to get out there and test it. And Nintendo are being a little bit, I mean, understandably, but they are being a little bit reserved on that information. So, we'll see.
Yeah, battery life is always a big thing for these portable devices. I mean, the Vita had very sort of limited battery life, but I think it's fine. The battery life, I've never really experienced any issues with the battery life for the PlayStation Vita.
I found with Vita, the only issue with battery was if you didn't turn it off properly. Apart from that, I think it was, really, really good. And the 3DS battery life is actually pretty great. Like, that's, between 4 and 6 hours, depending on what you're doing. So will the Switch be that good? I mean, it's hard, and like that's what I'm sorry with the event. Like there wasn't really a chance to test that sort of thing out because obviously you're only playing these things for 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a shame. But I mean, I'm just thinking how long the battery life will be when you're playing a game like Skyrim. I can't help but think that the battery life will be around 2 hours if you're properly playing Skyrim on that little tablet. I don't know. It's a shame. But yeah, I think that was most of the topics I wanted to discuss in terms of the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, I mean, we've got more details, and I'm still really into this and very intrigued.
Are you going to get one this year?
I am actually very much thinking about it, but I think the problem is the launch titles. It's just I don't think there's any point in getting it straight away. It's just so limited as to what you can buy out, straight away as soon as it's launched. I think it's probably worth waiting a couple of months just so you've got. I think the game that will make me really consider getting one if there was one with a good bundle or whatever would be when Mario Kart releases, Mario Kart Deluxe. I think that might push me, and maybe when Skyrim as well. I don't know, because I know this is weird. I know I laughed at people who hadn't played it, but I've never played Skyrim and I still want to play it. I've just never got around to it. So this could be a good opportunity to finally dip my toe in the Skyrim world. So I'm also interested in Super Mario Odyssey as well, but I really like the tech. I think it looks really cool. And it's a great idea. And, for traveling anywhere, it's a thing you can take on the go. You can play proper console gaming on the go, which is very nice. But Chris, after you've played it, what's your overall verdict of it? Give me a conclusion here.
I mean, the tech is great. And the Switch will, I'm sure, in a couple of years' time, have a really great lineup. And it'll be one of those ones that everyone's like, why have you not got a Switch? But for now, the tech is there. It feels great. It's just all the stuff on the side of it, like it's the kind of context. It's like you've got a really good burger, right? A really good burger, but you're like eating it in a public toilet. Does that make sense? And they've charged you 70 quid for each of the buns. And you can have a gherkin, but only for a month, and it will cost you £10 unless you use the smartphone app or something like that. And you don't know how long the burger's going to be warm for because the developers won't commit. Is the burger going to be warm for 6 hours? Is it going to be warm for 2.5 hours? Yeah, I would say, I think if you've pre-ordered it, you're probably the type of person who really wants to play Zelda or really loves Nintendo and wants it straight away. But if you've got any doubts, I mean, it will be probably quite hard to find at launch, but I feel like if you've got doubts, it's not worth pre-ordering because only other people playing will alleviate those doubts. And actually, Nintendo have said stock will not be as hard to find as with the classic SNES thing that came out. And the thing is, we've got a month and a half to launches, so that's 6 weeks where still there'll be more news, there'll be more controversies, there'll be more reveals about the tech and how it all works. And it's like, if you've got a pre-order, I would suggest, it's entirely up to you, but I would suggest don't feel bad about canceling it if you have doubts. There's no harm in waiting. Zelda will be there in months and months and months time. Like it makes no sense to me to want to now commit almost at least £300 if you want a game or other controllers to this system that is still kind of got a lot to prove.
Yeah.
But people like pre-ordering stuff, and if you want to pre-order it, go for it. That's totally your prerogative. I pre-order games, I pre-order stuff. That's totally fine. Do what you want with your money. But if you have got doubts, it didn't sell me enough. Because even being at the event, it was like, oh, all these games look so great. And then you'd see people finish them or you play them, and it's like coming fall 2017. It's like, oh, can't wait to play this in potentially 11 months' time.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I don't know. I think from what I've seen, the previous other people is saying that the Wii had a much better launch lineup. I personally can't remember it, but I think there was a lot of games that came out with the Wii.
It had a Zelda game as well, and it had Wii Play and Wii Sports. Yeah, and everyone had Wii Sports. That's why it's kind of so high ranking. Wii launch had Raving Rabbids, which was the Rayman game. Super Monkey Ball it had. Like, it was good. It was, there was
Bloody
more,
hell,
and it
yeah.
was good.
They had almost, it's like 5 times the amount of games that
Oh God, Red Steel, that was a great game.
Madden.
Red Steel was really good. They had Trauma Center, WarioWare in Japan.
Yeah, there was a Legend of
Yeah,
Zelda.
good
Twilight
stuff.
Princess was the one that came out. WarioWare, We Play, Wii Sports, Wing Island, Call of Duty 3, the Grim Adventure. Yeah, quite a lot of different games here. So, I mean, obviously not major games, but still a lot of different games covering a lot of different genres.
And then in America, the Wii U, for example, had 32 launch titles. I had Assassin's Creed 3, I had an update of Arkham City, and bear in mind this was a couple of years ago, so Assassin's Creed was still relatively new. Like Assassin's Creed 2 wasn't that old at that point. Had Mass Effect 3, New Super Mario Bros. U, Nintendo Land, Rabbids Land, Scribblenauts, Sonic All Stars Racing, great. Zombie U, which was good fun. Like it had more.
Was it though? Was Zombie U that fun?
Yeah, it was.
Hear good things
The
about that
multiplayer was really good in Zombie U, and also games came out quick for it. They didn't wait around. Very frustrating time to be a Nintendo fan once again, because they give with one hand and they take with the other.
With the other.
With the other.
There we go. So that's in conclusion. So I'm still interested, but it seems like we've just bashed it the whole time. I mean, it's a very intriguing idea. It's a curious device, the Nintendo Switch, and I think I will be investing in it at some point in the near future, but I don't think it will be on launch.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I probably won't get one until, if I get one, and I probably will get one when the titles are there. It won't be until sort of December, November this year, like a Black Friday thing maybe. And the actual, I'll say it again, the actual console and the games felt good. It's the stuff around it that is difficult to digest in the burger analogy.
It's always the problem now. The bloody accessories costing too much darn money. Anyway, I think we should now wrap up, because I think we've done our very, very in-depth look at the Nintendo Switch. So I think we're done. I think that's it. Chris, I think we should wrap up and get the hell out of here, because we've come and done what we said we would do. We've taken no prisoners, and we're ready to drop it.
Is that lyric? Of course.
Don't forget, you can find us at heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com, Twitter at Handheld Podcast. Or if you're interested in the Nintendo Switch, if you've got some thoughts on the Nintendo Switch and whether you're going to buy one, let us know whether you're going to buy one on launch. Email heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Also, contact us via Facebook, Google Plus, social media places. So, Chris, what do you have to say yourself? What are you going to end us on? What are we doing?
I'm doing really well on Pokemon Go. Hey, can I just say, I know it's nothing to do with anything, but if you're in London and playing Pokemon Go, there's a new map out online, which obviously I've never used, but if I had used, I'd say it was really good, and you can find it if you search around for it. I mean, I have never used it.
There's one in my local area as well.
Is there?
I've never actually used it.
It's a bit of a renaissance. Yeah,
it's good. It's very good. I finally got my what's the one above Gloom and Oddish?
Vileplume.
What's it called?
Vileplume.
Every time you say it, you cut out.
Vileplume.
Vileplume. That's it. Yeah. I finally got my Vileplume about that. So I'm now going to be working towards my Ninetales. That's what I need to work towards now. It's good times. It's good eggs. Good eggs. Talking of eggs, I've got loads of 10Ks I need to hatch. Good times. Oh, shit. Yes. Yes, Chris, I can finally get my Nether Queen. Anyway, right, let's move on. So thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back same time. Well, probably not same time. We'll be back next week, though, because this is an earlier episode. Chris, what do you want to say? How are you going to end this episode? You get to end it. Once you've said your final statement, we are getting out of here.
I would say first one in, last one out the club.
Bye.